Alrighty guys, thank you for seeing me break down in silence. But at the end of the day, we love pro wrestling, right? Woo! Thank you. Thank you for coming out again. I truly appreciate you guys taking your time away from John Cena and actually coming here and seeing real professional wrestlers, real professional podcasters. With that being said, my name is Eddy BAYBEE, representing the Big Propaganda the Eddy BAYBEE. I'm here with one of my co-hosts. He is an amazing guy. He's watched me stress out, and at the end of the day, he's always supportive to me. Mr. Zello Smoke, BAYBEE.
Hey, man, it's so incredible to be here. Like, we are grateful for you guys coming in.
Truly.
This is such a good moment right now. But, you know, we also have some great people with us right now.
Great and scary.
And scary, very scary. Very dangerous.
Dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Dangerous men.
Let me go first by introducing a man that is he's a CrossFit coach and trainer. He's a motivational speaker. He is a power slap contender, ladies and gentlemen, in the middleweight division. He is the OIWA Universal Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mr. Dontae Smiley.
How are you feeling today? That is the most important question I try to ask everybody. How do you feel?
Blessed and highly favored, brother. You know I'm grateful to be here.
No, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, especially being a champion of your own. But we got more champions.
More champions.
That being said, a former power lifter. This guy is strong. This guy is a savage. His name is Brick Savage, baby. Pro Super Open Heavyweight Champion, courtesy of Matt War Pro, man. How are you feeling today?
I feel terrible. I had a tournament for this game.
You had a tournament.
Yeah.
You didn't face one person.
Not one, it was 21 people to start with. And then I had a tornado match that was 5 people. And from that, it was a singles match with the Barbed Wire Coal Miners Club.
He's looking at the person responsible for this matchup.
And then immediately after that match was the main event, which is a no DQ, no disqualifications, right? Anything goes. Right after that, 4 matches for the goddamn thing. I'm still tired. It's not on the 24th, I'm still tired.
Trust me, both of you gentlemen have a big responsibility, especially being on top of the mountain. Number one question that everybody asks, when did you guys become fans of pro wrestling? We start with Dontae.
Fans of pro wrestling?
Yeah, like the first time, like your earliest childhood memory, earliest memory.
It was probably when my dad had Monday Night Raw on with Shawn Michaels, who was one of the first wrestlers that I ever watched wrestle.
That's awesome.
And I knew that was something I wanted. I grew up, man, just like everybody else did, having hundreds of figures, having the ring, growing up playing WCW versus NWO, growing up playing all the video games and stuff like that. But it seemed like a pipe dream to be able to actually become a professional wrestler, you know, until it wasn't. And then we hit the ground running ever since and never looked back.
Dude, that's awesome, man. What about you, Mr. Savage?
How many rings do you have?
How many rings?
Yeah, how many wrestling rings do you have?
For the figures?
Yeah.
2 I have 2 of them, yeah.
You have at least 2.
Yeah, well, a lot of people will have the one ring and they just have to change the aprons.
Now the ring, the steel cage.
Right.
The steel cage, if y'all remember the figures with the steel cages, like the ones that is the most expensive is the elimination chamber, like the old school elimination chamber. That is the most expensive. eBay goes for like at least 4 digits. So if you're deciding to get it, please, especially mint condition, good luck to you. But Mr. Savage, you technically are a second generation pro wrestler.
Technically, I am. So yeah, my dad was a wrestler. He got started late 90s. I was watching wrestling before that, right? So, you know, I didn't really kind of like get super into it until Scott Hall went to WCW. That's when I started watching it religiously, right? I had the 2 TVs on, right? So that, you know, swap back and forth. Now we had 2 TVs trying to watch both programs. So that's when I really started getting into it super hard. And I started training probably when I was like 10 or so for a few years. I got out of it.
Yeah.
Just try to be, I did a bunch of sports. I did my Greco wrestling, my track and field, my football and stuff, and man, I didn't really kind of latch onto it super hard. Fell into the powerlifting thing and excelled at that.
Yeah.
It was super great, right? And retired about 6.5 years later. I wasn't going to do anything. I just didn't know exactly. I was going to hang everything. Every physical sport I was done with. I tried everything under the sun, all right? I didn't want to do anything. And then a friend of mine was like, why don't you get back into pro wrestling? I was like, I don't know. Went to a training day and just like got after it for like 3 hours. Right, I drove 3 hours to there from Austin, right, to Dallas.
Trained for 3 hours.
Trained for 3 hours.
Jeez. And we're from Houston, so we know that drive.
And then drove 3 hours back, right? And that whole 3 hours, like the road was silence, and it was just like, that was fun. Let me try it again. So I did it again, and then when I got back the 3 hours, I think it was like a storm was coming in that day too. It was raining. It was freezing. I cut up a denim vest that I had. I just bought this damn thing. Cut a denim vest in half, put on one of my old black singlets and stuff, put on some combat boots and some wrist tape, and I cut a big gap outside of the mud. Right? It was like, I was like, man, I don't know. I think I'm gonna do this. Like it took off from there, man. Yeah, that happened in 2021, and then by March 2022, my first match took off from there.
Wow.
So I ain't stopped since.
That's amazing. And since this is a panel of fan participation, we'll start from this side and just yell out your earliest memories of pro wrestling. Just rap stuff. Don't forget, your memory will age you out. So we'll start from this direction and just go on from there.
I'll say we're starting young, so I just blame the face. I mean, I remember my very first memory of wrestling was my dad took me to his friend's house to watch the pay-per-views. So my very first one was one of the Cena Rock matches. And I already knew the Rock from like the game plan. Like he was already doing movies by then, and I was like, this is cool. Like he's actually fighting. And so, yeah, just years later, like going to house shows, we went to both the Dallas WrestleManias here. It was just really, me and my dad was really into it. And so us always watching Raw and SmackDown and everything, that's how she got into it. It was like, we actually pop in on what they were like screaming at every day.
Now, were you a Let's Go Cena or a Cena Sucks fan?
Right now, it's funny to say Cena sucks. I say that as I have like a picture from like 2013, me like at one of the house shows, full Cena gear, full everything, but it's just funnier to say Cena sucks.
That's awesome. With that being said, gentlemen, I had a plan to show the clips of why I became a fan of you guys.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Matt War Pro for creating this weird concept. Again, I wish I had the video, guys, so I apologize for that. But please go to Matt War Pro on their YouTube channel and see this match. The match is in its entirety. It is the four-corner dog collar match.
Rat King.
My apologies.
All right, guys.
But that's basically the concept. 4 gentlemen with a dog collar in each corner, and all hell broke loose. Dontae, what was your idea of that match when it was presented to you?
I was like, I get to be violent? I have a weird infatuation with pain violence for whatever reason.
Which we'll get to that.
And so when I heard what it was going to be, I was automatically already sold, you know what I mean? What I didn't expect was to see this big old dude break the chain out in the center of the ring like he did. Because I think a few other people thought they were going to be in trouble at that point, and I knew things were just about to get even more real. And then everybody just got locked in, and we went to war for 25, 30 minutes out there, trying to break each other for what it was. And unfortunately, I failed at that time. Break failed at that time too.
Yeah, we fucking choked.
That's crazy. It was, it just ended up being one of them situations where we got so locked into it, and if I wasn't gonna win, he wasn't gonna win. If he wasn't gonna win, I wasn't gonna win. And Dontae Leon, same thing. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Dontae,
along with Damo McCullough, who was in that match.
Man,
And
Damo.
unfortunately, you know, Damo was the one that ended up pulling out because some of us just couldn't get over ourselves in the heat of the moment.
What about you? Because most of my clips that I have for you, Brick, is you dominating. You, like, I swear to God, guys, I wish I would show you the video. This guy did not go down at all. I've never seen him on his back, you know. He was just dominating everybody, you know.
That's correct.
Pause, thank you. Sorry.
Wow, right there.
Pause, guys.
Well, so in that match, like, all four of us are chained together. It's not just like, you know, it's two on two deal where it's like everybody's gonna separate them, like, or even singles where everybody's separate and you get to run around, you can escape. You can't escape that deal, right? There's no evasion. You can't get away from that deal. So even when you're getting, you know, your head bashed in with the chain, you can't like run away from it. You're attached to somebody else. Now there was a point where I did break the chain and it separated. At least two of us. I'm a master manipulator. Sometimes I like to get my hands dirty and manipulate the situation to a degree. So, you know, I unhooked the chain and I got a piece of somebody else that was getting on my goddamn nerves. So, beat the shit out of him for a while. And then switched back, you know, right? So, like, I at least was able to jump back and I was kind of in the confines of the rules, if the word. Right.
No, they were absolutely the best.
Absolutely zero.
No one said I couldn't break the chain. All right? No one said I couldn't break the chain.
The best part of the match, y'all, was afterwards, where Damo was holding the title, everybody's cheering, everybody's celebrating. These two guys still whooping their ass. They're still being violent. They're still fighting.
I respect them. I still I'm a fighter for a chance to get, so I might fight people next time.
I mean, it's crazy you guys are so cordial right now, man.
But luckily both of them are champions. But I see Dontae eyeing
We gotta make sure y'all are invited back to this situation.
Oh, we're definitely gonna do this again, and hopefully you guys can join as well. So, with that being said, we can start with this little section. What is the most violent match that you guys have ever seen to the point that it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break for a little while? Man.
Go ahead. Not taking a break, but that lights out match between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland.
Oh, syringe in the mouth and all that.
Yeah, that was
a little grimy right there.
Yeah, I had to look away for that match, man.
I don't think that was sanitary.
Something that gets me every time was Cody's match in the Hell in a Cell. I mean,
with the purple movement.
that was hard to watch. It's hard.
I mean, the heydays of ECW in Jersey with, I mean, you know, Sandman, Taz, Rob Van Dam, I mean, you know, Sabu, some of the pioneers of violence, you know, and some of the blood and, you know, barbed wire and explosions, and it called back to a lot of, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling and some of the stuff that WWE was still able to do back in the Attitude Era. You know, when you had like Cactus Jack and you know, even the match he had with Triple H and that sort of thing, and even when he was having matches with Terry Funk and that sort of thing. And you get some of them now with like AEW, like Anarchy in the arena the other night, when they're pulling out staple gun. Swerve Strickland with a staple gun in 2 different matches was something I never thought I'd see. Where he's hitting people in the forehead with staples. He even got one on his tongue that he showed in the match, which was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. But to hit somebody off the top rope with a staple gun, thumbtacks in the match, in the mouth, and then an EVP, the exploding tables. I mean, they've gotten pretty creative, and a lot of it is callbacks to Japanese wrestling on the hardcore side and old school ECW and some of that. And in moderation, it can make it extremely enjoyable.
Yeah.
You don't want that kind of stuff all the time because it ruins the authenticity of it. But, and I know WWE doesn't do that much anymore because it's unsafe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it reminded me a lot of old school
Yeah,
stuff.
we PG now in this era, so
Yeah.
this is a little different. Yeah. Okay, with that being said, nostalgia is probably one of the biggest things that's a part of wrestling today. And I also want to ask you guys, for your personal experience wrestling and watching and being fans of wrestling, what's the most nostalgic moment that impacted not only you but your career?
Oh, I think the moment where really my career changed, per se, to where I was going to start, taking off was when there was a company that was called CYA, Control Your Narrative, that formed in 2021. And at that point, I've been wrestling 7 years, 'cause I started in 2014. But getting, yeah, my body feels like it too. But being part of that and getting to learn and just travel the road with people like an EC3, Braun Strowman, Flip Gordon, and Karrion Kross back when he wasn't part of WWE during that time off, was doing stuff with us and being in the locker rooms, being in the houses, being in the roles with those guys, being able to pick their brain and getting myself to a position to where I became the top babyface of the company while we were around on every single flyer. Before the tour got canceled that we were supposed to go on after Adam got signed, I was on the main tour flyer and stuff like that. That situation changed everything for me. Everything really took off at that point. I had big moments and big matches before that, but being part of that and getting myself over like I did and then putting me over in the way that they did absolutely changed everything from that point forward. Everything elevated after that.
Everybody's where we are today. Champ over there, man.
Right.
What about you, Brick?
Man, I'm not that old. I mean, I'm old.
Not that old in wrestling, that old in age, maybe.
No, keep it somewhere out here.
I haven't wrestled officially that long, but man, one of the things that changed a lot for me was being at World Pro. I don't have like a persona that's just made up. It's just a personality of mine that was somebody I used to be that I didn't really like so much, right? So, but being able to delve into that character more and like pull out some intricacies that really invite you in to want to watch, right? Not just for the wrestling stuff, but for the way I'm able to tell the story. And I think that it was probably the Jay Alexander match that I had that kind of started everything off, where I essentially had to get put on first. And I don't believe I'm a person that should open the show. I should be doing the main event, right? So it started off with, my untrustworthiness for people, to claw my way to prove myself, essentially. It wasn't for anybody else, but just to myself that I belonged where I was supposed to be in the main event area, and having to go through that entire trial that, most of the companies I work for didn't believe me in that capacity to do. And my World Pro gave me that chance to really kind of start that era for myself and like bring that really essentially to Texas and everywhere else I'm taking it. So that whole story where that evolved from to now. I think it's probably one of the best things that's happened for sure. Texas.
100%. It definitely changed the game in all aspects in the scene.
And that's one thing that the old cliche was old is new. And no matter how things change, like there's stuff that will stay the same. There's one thing that I kind of respect out of you both is that you guys create your own schedules. You guys have your own ambition. Like obviously the goal for every wrestler is WWE. Like that's everybody's goal. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are content or they'll just find other avenues. Like for example, Dontae out here want to slap people. So where did that concept or where did that opportunity came from? Just doing the power slap.
Came from a phone call. I mean, like, you know, it's funny because I've been watching already Power Slap because I like UFC. You know, Power Slap is owned by Dana White at the end of the day and stuff as well. And so I knew about it, but then they started, they go through a process with everybody where they'll like throw a combine, invite people out to it, see who wants to do it. Obviously, everybody don't like that much violence. Also, everybody doesn't have a chin that thinks they have a chin. Not being out there and whatnot. And so I got a call from a good friend named Simbodi, who he's a Kazarni back in the WWE days.
Oh.
And exactly. And so he is one in their talent relations department and helps them recruit. You know what I mean? And they've gone through a lot of people that they've recruited that haven't voted out well, because some of it's people off the street, some of it's former football players, basketball players, track people, some of it's former martial artists, people that do taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, whatever else. And they figured that trying out a few wrestlers might vote a little bit better because we, know how to take hits. You know what I mean? You know, scripted or not, like wrestlers do have to make contact with stuff. We do get hit, and we get hit with steel chairs and get thrown on the ladders and get hit with kendo sticks. It's not the greatest feeling in the world, or get knee to your face with chains. It's not the greatest feeling in the world, you know. But the one thing they know is that to do something like that, you have to be half-ass crazy somewhat already, you know what I mean, and be okay with a little bit of violence. And so I've known Sin for a lot of years, and he called me to see if I was interested. He was talking way too much. I tried to cut him off early and told him that I 100% was, and they invited me out. We did the combine, and luckily I was one of the first people to get to sign a contract from this last time around. I got a 6-fight contract with him coming up. That's what they do majority of them for. And so my first match is going to be June 27th at the Fontaine Blue out in Las Vegas, coming up here in a few weeks. And I'm looking excited to everything this is going to bring, because being part of a platform like that bodes well for all the platforms that I'm a part of in the OIWA, being that war, because it's kind of the situation of wherever you go, there you are. You know what I mean? I'm not one thing, I'm all things, and all things are within me as well. So everything that I'm a part of gets like Sean Dolan as well. If I succeed, them things can succeed, because they'll go to my page and see everything that I'm about and all the different things that I'm doing. And so then people start tracking it. Same way if somebody finds me from that war, same thing if somebody finds me from the OIWA, when they see the other stuff that I do, they get engraved and engulfed into that situation of wanting to follow their journey and everything else as well. So it goes well for everybody. Everybody wins. When I win, when the company wins, I win, and everybody else wins. And it takes a tribe to make all this stuff successful at the end of the day. And it takes being better and doing other things as well to help get out into a broader audience as well, which is absolutely needed as an independent wrestler. You can't just do wrestling, you gotta be known for some other stuff as well, you know what I mean? Like him with the power wrestling as well. One of the first videos I saw him was him them repping 600 plus pounds for 10, 20 seconds. That's
65.
Do it.
65.
Yeah.
65 times. You know, my one rep max is 565. So the fact that somebody did 600 plus pounds with that many reps is absolutely insane. In a feat that it's a 1%er's feat, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff doesn't get enough credit in the other stuff that other people do, because quite frankly, unlike myself and Britt that do a lot of other different things outside of here and try to put on for the brands that help us put on for ourselves as well, a lot of wrestlers don't do enough at the end of the day to help those situations, and you got to be able to give a little bit to get a little bit in those situations, and that's what enough wrestlers at the end of the day don't do, is make themselves known outside of the thing, and this thing ain't gonna last forever at the end of the day. I've taken a tombstone power driver and fractured my C7 before, you know what I mean, and it happens. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to be prepared for, because it can happen and it can be absolutely over. Then what do you got? And that's what a lot of wrestlers need to think about, is that what do you got if you don't have this? And if you don't know, they need to.
That's deep, my brother.
Getting here early, do some motivational speakers. On his Instagram, he has power slam, CrossFit, and talking to an audience. So he's very good at it. He's a triple threat.
With that being said, man, it was so incredible to see you guys match in which I put on. And just like that Rat King match, it was something different. It was something we've never seen. The evolution of wrestling has changed so much, generation to generation to generation. 70s, 80s, 90s. I want to know how both of you guys, also to the audience too, I want to know how both of you guys feel about the evolution of wrestling right now to what it is in 2025.
Man, I think most of the stuff is boring.
Honestly,
Just because like they don't let things happen where you can digest it and like understand like why somebody's doing the thing. I'm real big on you've got 10, 15 minutes to tell a quick story, right? It's not a big time. You watch a movie that takes an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? It's time to develop a story. I gotta do this in 10, 15 minutes. And a lot of the things that happen in on this stuff, they do things really quickly for TV. They just don't get the time to develop the stuff. They just throw too many things in there just to say they can. Which it's sometimes interesting. It's nice to watch visually, but it's just to me it's just boring. There's no sense of actual real danger that you can get from doing drama to be able to tell the story. So I think that's part of what's like missing, because they may do dangerous acts, but you don't get the idea there's things that are dangerous happening. They ain't going to do it, so they're just kind of like doing things.
Do you think it's more of a spot heavy these days?
I mean, besides that, you can have a spot heavy deal, but you're not developing a story like why you're doing these things. Okay. Like, I don't have to do 600 different
Psychological aspects.
Yeah. But it's not, I play like war games with people online all the time while wrestling like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm trying to build tension mentally while also doing it physically at the same time. So I have a little different kind of cup of tea there. You can understand the sense of danger when the bell starts. And that just is developed for me, just walking out a certain way, right? The way I make eye contact with people. My mannerisms, what I do, and stuff like that. You just don't get the feel of it. Sometimes it feels like they're just people and not wrestlers. And to me, that's the.
What about you, Dontae?
Yeah. I mean, wrestling's funny, right? Because whether you go to north, south, east, west, whether you go overseas, you're going to get something different ultimately. I went to wrestled in Europe about 4 different times last year. From Germany, 2 different parts of Germany, 2 different parts of the UK area, Portugal, and the wrestling's absolutely different in every single one of those spots, because some of them are, like he was saying, like super spot heavy. They want to do everything from A to Z and tell no real story. But I feel like, especially on the independent circuit, where a lot of people are trying to work for the highlight reel, rather than to really develop themselves and get out there and be different to get themselves noticed. You can teach a monkey to do the moves, just the stuff in the middle that matters. Like my daughter knows how to do a flip off a couch from a good height. But I'm being serious. It doesn't take much to teach somebody how to do a move. I was on the Dude Perfect show once, and we taught the twins that are on the Dude Perfect show how to take bumps and how to do take suplexes and how to give a body slam within about an hour of training. You know what I mean? Safely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't take much to teach them that the art of storytelling in professional wrestling has never failed. It has never failed the individuals. It has never failed the organization. We just watched, for those that watch WWE, we just watched them tell a 5-year story with the bloodline situation. Yeah. And everybody and their mama and their dog was engulfed in that storyline. Yeah. Everybody. You know what I mean? They would lie if they said otherwise. And stuff, because they made everything that they did feel important. Whoever was writing that story, which I think was Heyman from what I've heard of the grapevine, was writing that story, everybody was engulfed in it. And it doesn't fall on the endings. You don't have to go out there and try to kill yourself doing everything under the sun as a wrestler to get over it. When you still tell a story properly, it gets you over. You know what I mean? I've wrestled with people from like PCO to Josh Alexander to Chase Owens, where it's a lot of one-offs when you're the head guy at some companies wrestling these top guys as an organization that's bringing them in. And it's your job to go out there and have the banger of a match, so to speak. But even still within trying to do that, you still got to tell the story for what you're trying to do. I've wrestled people that y'all have never heard of, maybe never will hear of. I hope y'all do one day. You know what I mean? And have had stellar matches with them, audience-wise, and suspending reality in that moment. because of the story that we told, not only leading up with promos, which also was a lost art, and I could go all day talking about wrestling. Need to do promos and be better at it. And I'm not going to get, because that's going to get on my soapbox, because it irritates me when wrestlers don't do it.
Yeah.
I've been wrestling 11 years. Every single match that I've done a promo for.
Yeah.
And people wonder why, when they don't do that, and they do need to do a promo, why they're trash ass at it. You know, it's because you didn't do it. You never practiced it. You know what I mean? I put in that time to where I can get a microphone and just go. Live mic, hot mic, don't matter. Record it, and you can just go. You don't need to sit there and think about it for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? You can ask that man sitting over there. You know, he's seen me do it before. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, storytelling and wrestling is always going to win over just having a quick hot shot match that doesn't do that, where the guys are just in there trying to do hot spots to get over in that moment that they can see from absolutely anybody else. People want to be able to relate to that individual. It's a babyface job to get that person feeling for them. It's a heel's job to cut that shit off. You know what I mean? To get the audience against them and what they do. And a lot of wrestlers these days just don't know how to do that to the extent that they, as well as to the extent that they need to be doing it at the end of the day, because everybody from match number 1 to match number 7 is just trying to go out there and have a banger. Yeah. And just like a match is supposed to have its highs and its lows build up, the card is supposed to have its highs and its lows build to the main event match. You know what I mean? And that match number 1 shouldn't be the main event match. Brick's right. He shouldn't be what he should. Nobody should want to be match number 1. Everybody should want to be the main event. And if wrestlers aren't working to know what it's like to have a main event match or be in the main event or be the top guy, then what the hell are they doing this for? Because the top guy is the spotlight guy. The top guy is the money guy. The top guy is the travel guy. And so when people don't want that top spot and they're just cool and okay with being on the card and happy to be here, okay, but get out of everybody else's way at the end of the day that actually wants to try to work to get themselves into a position to be in that top spot.
Message. We only have 10 minutes left. Again, fan participation. If you guys have any questions to our guests, Brick Savage, Dontae Smiley, please, by all means, you don't have to raise your hand. This ain't school. You can just yell it out. Brick wants to speak. Oh.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah,
See, yeah, raise your hand. Sorry, go ahead.
that's all good. I want to ask for the both of y'all, like, what would y'all say would be y'all's favorite spot or move to take or do to somebody?
Get the power bombs in the road, maybe?
I hate
Oh my
power
God.
bombs. So I hate power bombs. I was never gonna do one, and this dude ran at me crooked, wrong. He did something weird. I snatched him by his waist, picked him up, powerbombed him, and then I did it again. It blew up. That wasn't even one of the. So I did it again, right? So I was like, everyone enjoyed it. So I started using powerbombs more than the one I did that went super viral. I powerbomb this guy 5 times, and now everybody wants me to powerbomb the shit out of me. And I hate doing powerbombs. I think my favorite one to give is probably my finish that I call it 12-6. Essentially, I grab somebody from behind, the arms over my head, I throw them up, I spin them, and I turn them backwards, and I throw them on their face. Probably my favorite thing that I do. Yeah. Throw them up, spin them, turn them upside down, backwards, and throw them on their face.
It's like a record scratch. Like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering why you think I got here.
It's probably my favorite thing. I think my favorite thing to take is a big forearm strike from someone who's really strong. I'm just really good at selling. Really good with timing, right? So somebody's got a really big forearm strike that can knock somebody out is probably one of my favorite things to do, because I know this person doesn't look like money as soon as it happens.
My number 1, I do a little strike combo into a cool looking little Pele kick into my jumping double stomp from the ground, where I jump and literally put my feet in people's chests and drop them into the mat where they take the back bump, which is pretty much in my comeback, so to speak, when I'm firing up. But then also, I do an Ishigoroshi, which is like, got him in the fireman's carry and toss him over almost AA style onto my knee. It's like a neck breaker. Then I'll run off and give a big forearm strike to the back of the head, which I really love doing that, because when people, once again, like you said, when people know how to sell stuff right, it bodes well for both of us, because it takes two to tango and make each other look good in this situation. Just like him, like I love a good forearm strike when somebody's putting it in there. I hate weak shots, and somebody that likes to inflict pain, I want to feel something as well. And same thing with a watch out. But yeah, like a good forearm strike or a good kick of sorts to really sell for them, you know what I mean? Because I pride myself on being able to make people look good as well, because once again, it's our job. I need to make them look well, they need to make me look well. Let's do our job for each other and get the match over. It's more about getting over than going over anything, which is another lost thing in wrestling that people forget about.
We got time for one more.
What do you guys think about the last couple of years with documentaries like Mr. McMahon and on Hulu, and you've got like The Dark Side of the Ring, with these stories coming out from the 70s, 80s, and even some of the 90s about, you know, a lot of things that have gone on in and outside the locker room and personal tragedies and things of that sort. How do you think that's kind of changed perception of how people see wrestling now?
Man, I didn't really care for the McMahon one. It's just that there wasn't anything new. There was all the same stuff that it was rehashing. The Dark Side of the Ring is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Not because it's like great to watch, but you can understand the sorrow, the tragedy that comes with pro wrestling. Everybody thinks it's really fun. Like, yeah, it's fun to watch. There's just so much that happens, right? The other 20% of that, match stuff is you getting prepared and like getting to that deal. Another 20% is like stuff that happens outside the ring that you deal with your family. Another 20% is like, you can't tell the difference between like your reality and stuff like that. All that stuff that builds up to it, it's a lot that people just come to pass. Right? Fans don't really treat wrestlers as real people sometimes. That really shows that they are real people with real problems, right? So, I think it helps you get a little compassion for some of it to understand that view. But it's not a great show like happiness sometimes. It's really tragic.
Yeah, I think the Jake Roberts was probably one of the saddest ones. Just his growing up and what he went through and what he still dealt with. In his career at his peak of popularity, in 80s WWF. And just the horrible things that have been going on, and how he's chosen to grow from that with therapy and the like, and become a better person outside the ring, despite everything. And some people, weren't that lucky. Some people might have a tragic end.
I mean, this might sound harsh, but it also is a simple decision of a choice at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as somebody that talks to people like with addictions on a regular basis and lost kids, lost adults, like at some point, regardless of what anybody's going through, that individual has to decide that they want help, need help, and how to get that help. You can lead a horse so well, but you can't make him drink the water at the end of the day. And some people don't ever want to drink the water because they're too far gone. Some people will drink the water, and unfortunately, such is life. You know what I mean? A lot of people make a lot of bad decisions. People make good decisions. There's decisions that are in between. Our duty as humans is to try to help. And if you try to help, at the end of the day, that's the one thing you can't control. You can't control them accepting that help or staying within that help. But you can accept trying to help them. And I think that's where it comes in with Jake Roberts. You know what I mean? And some other people, that DDP, who we know is now working with a lot of people with past addictions, aches, and stuff like that, is they made a decision that enough was enough and said yes to his help at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because wrestling is dark at the end of the day, but it takes somebody to try to change that cycle to break out of it. And just because people are wrestlers don't mean they have to act like wrestlers behind the scenes and do stuff that the old school wrestlers done. You don't have to be the same as everybody else. You could be the one that doesn't go out. You could be the one that doesn't drink. You could be the one that doesn't take pills for your pain or do drugs as well. You just have to be okay with it. And it's okay not to be the popular in the locker room, because you can still be the popular one in the ring today. Whereas back in the day, they felt like they needed to be the popular one in the locker room and in the ring to be able to get over this bullshit. At the end of the day, I could care less if people in the locker room don't like me. I'm going to win anyway because I know the work that I put in for me to win in the way that Dontae wants to win. And it's not succumbing or playing wrestler like a lot of people do, or doing things just because that's what wrestlers do. I don't feel the need to do that. If Dontae don't want to do it, I ain't gonna do it at the end of the day. And if I do, then I will, you know what I mean? But I got a lot greater worries and a lot greater concerns outside of what other people do. When I have a wife, when I have kids and stuff that are real people I gotta take care of, including myself, that I gotta worry about. And it's a wrestler's choice to not get involved in stuff, and they don't have to. And they should never feel like they have to get involved in a lot of it. It's stuff of bend over backwards for a promoter in the locker room to be able to get over.
Just to be respectful, gentlemen in the back, you raised your hand, so I want to make sure you get your question.
I just wanted to, so in my house, I come across as a wizard because wrestling is kind of, I think, on television, like you were mentioning the writing and stuff like that, story-wise, it's kind of become predictable. So like last Saturday, Saturday night's main event, my wife is a huge Jay Uso fan. Jay Uso is getting beat up by John Cena and Logan Paul, and I was like, Cody's gonna come out. Cody comes out. I was like, they're gonna have a tag match. Everybody's the man. Then that happens. All before Cody proceeded to do that stuff. Is that kind of some of the vibe that you're just saying? It's just like, I feel like now, because that Bloodline story was so good, like you're right, like I had friends who never watched wrestling coming to me asking me like, bro, what is this whole Bloodline thing going on right now? Let me get invested. They get invested. Do you feel like some of that predictability now kind of ruins some of the essence of the, being surprised when something, happens when it comes to some of these stories and kind of takes you, in and out of it?
Not necessarily, because see the thing when you have a goal and your pinpoints and stuff you want to hit, right? There's sometimes you need to extend something out. Let's say you get to extend something out without having like your two main people touch directly.
Yeah.
They're getting to touch indirectly to have this thing happen. And if something good sparks out of this, you have another branch of the story that can go either way with that deal while you're progressing your main timeline.
Yeah.
Right? Each thing is a sub-timeline that happens that has the opportunity to give you a new main story to continue when this one's over and let this one continue past it. So you gotta give those people opportunity to build those things, and that's how you do it. Right? It's the same kind of formula that'll happen. But how you get there, how you execute it, and what you do with it afterwards are the part that's going to matter the most.
Yeah. The predictability is not a bad thing. You just don't want to always be predictable. So, some things are meant for surprises, some things are meant to be predictable. You know what I mean? They want that anticipation, then you get it. You still get a little bit of high from it. It's like finding about stuff that happens in a movie. Like, you could tell me the end of the movie. I'm still going to go see the movie, and I'm still going to enjoy the movie personally. I'm not one that gets all up in a rabble when somebody tells me what happens in the movie, because at the end of the day, you're still experiencing it for the first time, regardless of you knowing the outcome of how something may work out or whatever else. So you're still going to get that high from it. The endorphins are still going to hit. So yeah, I'm like Rick. I don't feel like it ruins anything. There's a time and a place for everything. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. And also every pay-per-view, they can't have just these big surprises. You know what I mean? But because then you're always going to expect it. So then the one time that you don't get that big surprise, then how are you going to feel?
Yeah.
So when some stuff is predictable and what stuff is a surprise, you really never know at that point, and they just still keep you on your toes, whether you can see it coming, don't see it coming, big surprise, no surprise, or whatever else it may be.
Again, thank you guys for loving pro wrestling. Let's finish up with the social media plugs. Gentlemen, start with Savage.
You don't know my social media? It's World Breaker Savage. He knows it. World Breaker Savage. You can find him on that.
Yeah. And mine is D Smiley Built Different. D Smiley Built Different. Or you can just Google Dontae Smiley and you'll find everything you want to know and some that I would rather you not know online. Because all information gets put online these days.
Yeah, don't go to the 17th page of the Google.
I ain't got nothing there. My pages are clean, brother.
You're definitely. Thank you guys so much. Please follow us at the Big Propaganda Wrestling Podcast and Talking to Eddy, BAYBEE. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.